Okay, Nick, anything? No, we're happy with that. Right. Regarding the question that you had and the answer I gave on the forum, I hope this doesn't sound in any way odd, but would I be right in assuming that you are maybe like 5'10" or less, 5'8", 5'6", 5'6"? Perfect then. And Ibrahim, are you also perhaps 5'10" or less? I'm guessing, Ibrahim, you're not 6 foot tall. You're a little bit lower than 6. The reason why I say this is because I'm going to do the footwork for you now, and I want you to watch what I do with the footwork. And what we've got to look at with this, I'm going to move it for, yeah, that's fine. What we need to look at is how little I move, and I'll explain it a bit more after I've shown you. So section 1, I'm standing in front of it. I move my foot across a little bit here. It then doesn't need to move from that same spot. I step over. It then doesn't need to move from that same spot if I'm drilling. Here, here, here. So I step once, it stays. Stays. We did this, Rob, I don't know if you watched the catch-up, the Thursday one, but what we, with the footing, what we're pretty much going to do is if I step across a little bit, let's say 5 inches, then I'm now offset. I'm not in front of the dummy. I'm on this half of it. And then I'm going to have to get to the other side. So the 5 and 5 is going to take me 10 inches across. So I'm now on this side of it. And then the 5 inches back to the center. 5 inches made up number. Doesn't matter, whatever it is, because people are different heights. Now, because I'm because I'm a little taller, I don't need to do much after I've moved across a little bit. When Master Yip-Chun is playing the dummy, he'll play it this way. Watch my back foot now. So from here, he'll step in, he'll step out, across, in, out, across. So there's lots of extra shuffles. And that is, remember, this is a tree. So a lot of the stuff when we get things questioned, you need to remind yourself it's a tree. So there's certain limitations. And when we're looking at applications against the partner, we need to remember that the person's bigger than you. Now, these two can come together really when we think that if my stepping into the dummy is representing my attacker stepping into me, my attacker doesn't need to step so far if they've got a long reach. So there's a likelihood that I am going to need to step in afterwards anyway. So it is okay, provided, and this is very much like that connection to Chisao, where I'll say you can do whatever you want, provided you get away with it and it was your choice. Now, if you're doing the shuffle of the back leg and you know why, then that's absolutely fine. If somebody is tall on the dummy, they don't need to be doing this at all. There's another part of this, and this is a key part which I'll add on to later. I think I looked at something on your video, on your clip, and I think it was like 0.2 minutes 31 seconds, and there was a mistake there. And Ibrahim, you did the same thing. Now, I'll put a blog on this, but the idea is that whenever you make a mistake on the dummy, the problem was usually 3 moves earlier. Or if you make a mistake on the dummy, it's going to be a couple more moves before it bites you in the ass. And this is how we find out. Now, for instance, the footing on this, I said about moving across and in, across and across. What we need to really know here and acknowledge is this baseline. So, yeah, this is fine. So at this point, whenever I move my back foot, I'm going to move across to the side, back to center, across. This is the key thing for anyone starting the dummy form. You need to practice this ability. And I'll exaggerate it. I'll make it bigger to start with, but I'm going to move this side, and I'm going to move so that my following foot finishes in front of the leg. Then back, so I'm level, and then across. So this one is now in front of the leg, and back. Sometimes that can be a little bit difficult if that leg is sticking out, because these are always different as well. You know, you might have a leg that comes out and straight down. You might have one that projects forwards. So we have to kind of make do with it as best we can, a little bit anyway. So moving across and back, across and back. Sometimes we can have an issue where we feel like we can't reach with the gans, can't reach with your arms. I'll give you a quick run through of something on every section where this is going to be apparent, basically. And I'll show you the problem first, and then we'll look for it in other areas. So I move across a little bit, and I step in. Gown is okay. Here, it's okay. And then I step across here. And now I'm finding it difficult to reach the dummy. I can't reach. Why is that? And it's not because of the tan or gan. It's not because of the gan. It's because of the step that I made sideways. Initially, sideways, sideways. This is what we're looking at. I went sideways, stepped in and out, level. But now instead of going sideways, I've let that foot drift out, and it drifts out a little bit. If it's gone out, I might get away with this one. I will not get away with this one because I'm now starting to go further away from it. And this is why it's good to drill, to get comfortable across and in, across and in. And what you'll find every time I'm going across and in is that you'll realize that if I go out a little bit, it makes it difficult. So you need to stay close to the dummy. And that's the whole point, remember, of why we do the dummy form, to learn to move around your opponent. Set really quick ideas in section 1 and 2. Let's say, no, I'll keep 1 and 2 simple just for now. I move across, that's fine, this is fine. I move slightly out, I get away with that, and I don't get away with that. So it was a couple of moves before where the problem was. Section 3, I've got the packs. Angle this a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Here's my dive ball. I move out. Munsao, excellent. Back, bong sao. Can't reach with the kick. So I either fall onto it, or lean onto it, or I do a rubbish kick. My Munsao was fine. My kick was fine. It was the 2 moves before. It was the step out where the problem was. So if I only went across, comfortable, here, I step across. I move across to where it's comfortable, to where it is comfortable. I don't need to lean or fall. But if I step out too far, I won't notice at this point. I can get away with that. I'm not going to get away with that. So this is where we see problems. Section 4. Outside, in, inside, out. From there, got the cow sows, got the palm. I step in really tight. There's my palm with my kick. There's my gan. Now I'm kind of finding it a bit of a struggle to get back round. But okay, manage that. Low palm. I step out too far. Kick. Again, I can't reach with the gan. So the mistakes that we'll find did not happen at the time you found the mistake. The mistake happened 2 moves before you found it. Makes sense? Section 5. Right guard, left, right, left. Cow sound, palm, one, square, push. I step across here. I step into a gan. This look good? This gan, everyone? but then when I square up, I realize I'm not facing the dummy. So this becomes wrong. And again, it's not the palm that was wrong, it was before it. Because when I step in with this garn, it almost feels like I'm going past it, like I've gone way too far. Because it's only when I square up that I realize I'm actually right in front of it, I'm dead center. What else have we got? Section 6, garns. I'll angle this a little just so you can see. So garns, left, right, boom, lap, palm, boom, lap, palm, palm, out. And again, got the same problem. My kick's not wrong. It was my step out that was wrong. I went too far. If I have what we've got, section, what we're on 7, yeah, we've got the double kicks, and then we're moving to the gum here, and I come in with the gum, I get really nice and tight. Look how brilliant that is. That's fantastic. And then oh, not so easy for me to get back round again because I went too sharp of an angle to get in here, but then you're struggling to get back out. So giving yourself that little bit of breathing space, making sure that you can step across so I can clearly get in and I can clearly get out again. Clearly in, clearly get out again. Section 8 with the gums. If I step to the side, I don't pack and kick together. If I step to the side, I pack first to push myself to the side. If I step and pack together, then I need to move back together. I need to move back together, and so on. So these kind of problems usually are not at the time that you find the problem. They're 2 moves before. And the biggest thing to remember is that when we step sideways, we go side and in, back, level. We go side, in, back, level. But make sure that when you go sideways, you don't go out, because if that foot moves away from the dummy, then we're going to be problems. You're not going to be able to reach it. So that's what you're going to find. I'll give more on this for the blog, because I'm thinking I'll need some partners to better execute this, because that principle goes for hand techniques as well, for drills. If you start Dan Chi and you're a long way away from each other, well, you know, there's no point in the drill. It's kind of doomed from the start. If somebody's going to do packs and they're starting way out here, and it's like, well, I can see you before you do the pack. I can see your body move. Well, yes, because you're too far away. You should be much closer before you begin. You know, if laps exercise, being too far away from your partner, it's the same kind of thing. Coming in with a punch, if somebody starts from such a long way away, it becomes impractical. So understanding the range, basically the bottom line with this is, and the key thing, if you get your feet sorted out, everything else will go with it. But if you don't have the foundations, everything else is basically going to crumble. And it's that understanding. So Ibrahim, you did the same thing. You stepped to your left. Excellent. Great, great, great. And then you went away from the dummy for this one. So that's why you seem to struggle for that last arm. Yeah. Also, remember, both of you, get the elbow up on the cow sow, because you fell for that same lazy trap. So really get the elbow nice and high. Yeah, Nick, please go ahead.
You also made mention that there may be a difference. There may be impeding factors here: the beginning form and the more advanced. I assume maybe in the beginner form, when we're stepping in, there may be a step there because we're stepping in and lifting our opponent. Where if we're trapping the foot, there would not be a step in with that. What
I will do for Thursday, I'll show this again on Thursday with a bit more detail by putting I'll put some tape down on the carpet. But what we have is yeah, you can see the feet, that's good. In the basic form, we step underneath the leg and we push with the side of the calf. So we're pushing against the leg and making contact. So this all works together. In the advanced, we're trapping at the foot. and not in contact with the palm. Which means there's two different ranges there, two different distances. But the key thing to notice is how that is altered by the back foot. Because let's say I'm going to step the basic one where I need to be close. So what I'm going to do with this, when I move, let's see if I can use this little marker pen. I don't know if you can see that. Can everyone? Yeah, can you? Wow. All right. Let's see if I've got something else. What could we have? A fish. It's not relevant, but we'll make it relevant. Right. So we're going to look at little Mr. Fish here. And what I'm going to do for the basic one is Mr. Fish is going to know. I don't know why I'm calling him Mr. Fish. Sorry. The fish is going to notice here. I'm going to step in front of it, and that gives me the room to touch here. So I step in front of it. There's the room to touch. If I'm going to go for only, if I went to the same place and only touched here, now I've got a really tiny stance and I'm all squashed, all squished up. So I need to move that back foot further away. It needed to go to a different place, but it does not go to a different place here. It goes to a different place here, further across, again on that same baseline. So for the basic one, in front and touch. The advanced, here. So I've gone further away, like so. But I haven't gone, instead of here, I haven't gone further out in order to get that that distance. So we're going to kind of use that stepping to go further along that line. It's only a little bit. It's nominal. You know, don't want to kind of beat yourself up over that. But that's why there's certain clauses, certain discrepancies that might differ with that. So the height of the wooden dummy that you're training on, the height of yourself in comparison to that, the distance between the arms points is another factor. This should be 8 inches across the body and 8 inches from tip to tip. Doesn't really matter. You know, people are not the same. Dummies shouldn't be the same. You know, in my school, when we had like 8 wall-mounted ones and a couple of standing, got 10 dummies, and they're all different. And people used to like to do what they call the dummy run. They just kind of play the form on one and then go to the next and the next and so on. And sometimes you, like, if you got quite wide apart arms, like the Hayashi ones, they're really wide apart. So on those, you need to step further around to be able to accommodate that. I've got some made out of telegraph poles, and they're really narrow and close together. So you hardly need to move at all with that. So it depends on your height, the height of the dummy, the width of the dummy, and if you're going to do basic or advanced. But as long as you know what you are doing, Ibrahim, just unmute yourself, if you will. If you know what you're doing, then it's absolutely fine. It's when people are shuffling in with the back foot and not really knowing why. Ibrahim, go ahead.
Yes, I want to tell you that I'm 167 centimeters.
Oh, what's that in old money? I don't know what that would be. 5 foot.